Okay, so here we are getting ready for the second training. This is going to be aircraft essentials, and we're actually going to learn how to do a little bit with the aircraft this time. So as a quick overview of what we're going to do, we're going to learn about the yoke, which controls the ailerons and elevator, and the rudder pedals, which control the aircraft's yaw axis. So this is basically your nose up, nose down, as well as your roll left and roll right controls. And then of course we also have the throttle. And here it's showing us where all of these are in the cockpit, although typically if you're playing this game, you're probably using some sort of controller to play the game instead. But those controls will move to replicate the inputs that you're doing with whatever controller you're using. So let's go ahead and fly.
Let's get you familiar with the aircraft, a Cessna 172, and a few commands to navigate it through the skies. In front of you is the yoke. The yoke is like a steering wheel, more or less. Turn it left or right to control the ailerons and bank the aircraft into turns. Look at the trailing edge of the wings while turning the yoke to see the effect on the ailerons. Okay. Now, the difference between the yoke and a steering wheel is you can pull or push on the yoke. This controls the elevator at the back of the aircraft to make it climb or descend. Look at the horizontal stabilizer while you pull on the yoke. You can see how it affects the elevator. Nice. Down at your feet are the rudder pedals. They steer the aircraft when you're on the ground. The upper part of the pedals also control your brakes. In the air, they control the rudder at the end of the vertical stabilizer to yaw the aircraft. This is mostly for small corrections, for coordinating turns or compensating for a plane's tendency to pull left during takeoffs and climbs. Look at the vertical tail while operating the pedals to see the effect on the rudder. Great. Last but not least, the throttle is located near the center of the cockpit. Pushing forward will increase power, pulling back will decrease power. First, look at the throttle and select it. Keep it selected and push it forward to increase power. Power is increased. Now pull it back to decrease power. Power is decreased. Now we'll do the same without focusing on it. Deselect the throttle. Look away from the throttle and increase power. Set your throttle to idle. Excellent. When the engine is on, you'll be able to see the power change on your RPM indicator. You will find it on your PFD screen in the top left corner. This tells you how fast the engine is spinning in hundreds of revolutions per minute. Next, take a look at your current speed on the airspeed indicator. It's on the left on your PFD screen. It measures the speed in knots. To check your altitude, look to the altimeter. It's on the right on your PFD screen.
One thing before I move on with the training, I want to point out here, a lot of planes do this, although they don't always do it in the same place. The G1000, which is the electronic flight display thing happening here that's set into the console of this 172, it will show you some important speeds right here on the bottom of the speed indicator while you're still on the ground. Once you start moving, these will go away and they'll actually be on the speed tape itself. So as you speed up, you'll see these speeds like come down the tape. But there are a couple of really important ones. One is this R speed. This is your rotate speed. When we go to do the takeoff training, that will become very important, but it's good to know. It's good to check these while you're on the ground parked so that you know what your rotation speed is and also what your climb speed is. And that is your Y speed. So that kind of sets your ideal climb speed.
Not all aircraft have integrated screens with all this information. A lot of them rely on analog instruments. You can find the analog versions of the airspeed indicator and the altimeter just above the throttle. They are respectively on the left and right.
So airspeed indicator here on the left, you'll see green, that's, safe speeds to be in. Yellow is starting to get a little too fast and can present some issues. And this red line here, that's your max airframe speed. You should not go any faster than that. If you go any faster than that, you can have very serious problems with your aircraft. The white bars on these speed indicators also tend to show you safe speeds for either flap or gear deployment. We haven't talked about flaps yet, but when you see this white bar that kind of goes around your speed indicator, that is typically showing you where it is safe to have your flaps out. And then our altitude indicator over here, just a couple things to show on this one. I think it's going to talk about how it works here in a minute, but this dial at the bottom left corner is how you can change the calibration of your altimeter, and it shows up in this window right here. Now it's a little hard to read what you're set to in this window, but when you mouse over the dial, it will show you 29.92 inches of mercury in this case.
The analog altimeter has 3 hands similar to a clock. The long, thick pointer indicates 100-foot intervals. The short, thick one is 1,000-foot intervals, and the long, thin one counts 10,000-foot intervals. That's all for today. Next time, we'll see how it feels in the air.
So that's training number 2 done. We still haven't flown the plane yet, but we did get through some important things that you need to know where they're at. The controls of the planes, as well as some of the key instruments that you need to look at. Now, as it said in that training, we're looking at a Cessna 172 that has the G1000 glass cockpit in it. So electronic flight information being shown to you. Not all of the planes, even in this sim, have that. Some of the older planes in particular will have all analog cockpits, which means each bits of those data, like the airspeed, the altitude, they will all be on their own actual instrument dials. And typically they'll be front and center where that screen is. The nice thing about the screen is it incorporates a lot of those instruments into a single display, but a lot of planes don't have them. So that's it for this training. In the next training, I think we actually get to fly the plane. So come back and join me for that one.